Hello, Walsh Wildcats, and happy Friday. We are finishing up our third full week of school. So 3.5 weeks, technically, right? I hope that everybody is settling in and getting used to their online learning. And starting next week, some of you will be coming back to school. So that's pretty exciting too, okay? Last week when you saw my video, we talked about fight, flight, or freeze, right? And how the brain works, right? So that's the science behind the why. Why do we flip out, right? Why do we flip our lid, right? Remember our brain, right? We have our prefrontal cortex. This is our upstairs brain. This is our thinking, rational, logic brain, right? And then downstairs brain, that's where sometimes our emotions take over, right? It's like an automatic response, okay? So when we have this automatic response and it becomes too big, we flip our lid, right? So that's the science behind what we talked about. This is actually a brain chemistry thing, okay? So we flip our lid, okay? That's usually when we get in trouble, like we do things we might regret or say things that aren't kind, stuff like that. So we are again working on keeping our lid down, right? Keeping our rational thinking intact so we can problem solve and make good choices. And so this week in advisory, you've been practicing more mindfulness activities. You worked on gratitude, writing down things that you're grateful for. And then you also worked on grounding, mindfulness that is grounding. So by paying attention to your 5 senses. That is a grounding activity. So today we are going to talk about another type of strategy that you can use. The idea behind these strategies though, is that we practice when we feel good, so that when we don't feel good and we are about to flip our lid or we have flipped our lid, that we start to go to automatically using these techniques, these coping skills that help us. And so there's 2 ways to look at it, right? So we could be an amateur at it, right? And we can just practice it and do it right? But not practicing it to a point where we're automatically doing it, okay? Or we can be a professional, okay? So being a professional about it is we are going to do it so often that we don't do it wrong ever. It just comes to us. It's automatic, right? It's just what we do, okay? And that's really the goal behind it. And now know that this is called a practice because we're always practicing. We're never really there, right? Maybe we're just always practicing to be a professional, okay? Or a better professional. Even as adults, the adults in your life, your teachers, your parents, other adults that are in your life, we are all still practicing these skills too, okay? Nobody is perfect, all right? That's why it's a practice. So today we're going to practice something. Today we're going to talk about meditation. A lot of you have probably heard of meditation before, and we kind of always think of somebody like sitting cross-legged with their fingers on right here and their eyes are closed. They're saying Om, right? Now, that can happen in meditation, but that doesn't have to be what meditation is or what it looks like, okay? So meditation is a form of mindfulness, but it's a little different. So mindfulness is about being aware, right? So we become aware of our feelings, right? So we want to use a coping skill. So being aware is being mindful, all right? Meditation is actually setting aside time to practice being with your thoughts, okay? Noticing what's going on in your head, of your thoughts, your feelings. It's just a state of being quiet and calming our mind too. Or you might say even hearing yourself. Because the idea is not to go blank or picture black the whole time and not think about anything. That's not the idea. And that's actually like really impossible. It's so hard to do. If you've ever tried it, and if you have tried it and you thought that's what meditation was, then you probably gave up because you were like, I'm not good at this. I can't do it. Who can think of nothing constantly, right? So I want you to know that that's not the idea behind meditation. Meditation is just a state of being quiet and hearing yourself, okay? So we are going to practice a type of meditation today. And during a meditation practice, what you want to do is actually you want to sit up. So you don't want to lay down, because the idea is not to fall asleep. It's like to be awake and aware, okay? It is an awareness, so it is a type of mindfulness practice, okay? So we don't want to fall asleep. So first, I'm going to give you a few guidelines, and as I tell you, you can follow them and get ready. And then we're going to do a type of guided meditation. There's different types of meditations. And this one is a type of guided meditation. This is called a breathing awareness. Okay, so we're going to focus on our breathing. So what we want to do before we meditate is we're going to sit up straight. Okay, and you can sit in a comfortable chair, or you can sit on the floor in a beanbag, anything that's comfortable, as long as you're sitting up straight. Okay, don't want to fall asleep. All right, then next, you can either close your eyes all the way, or I don't know if you can see the difference, but I'm not closing my eyes all the way. You can either just kind of close them a little ways. So you know how your vision just kind of gets a little foggy. It's almost like you're just a little spaced out, like you're blurring everything out, okay? Now, if you can close your eyes all the way and not be nodding out and fall asleep, then close your eyes all the way if that's more comfortable, all right? If not, just kind of put your eyelids down a little bit, not all the way, so you can kind of see it, and you'll see what I mean when you do it. Just kind of blur everything out, all right? Whichever one is more comfortable for you, okay? And then you're gonna wanna focus on your breath, okay? Now, in the meditation we're gonna do today, this is actually a breathing meditation, so that's all that we'll be focusing on, that will be talked about. But if you were doing a different type of meditation, you still want to focus on your breath no matter what, okay? Because that's the part that helps kind of ground us, that helps keep us present with awareness of our body and our thoughts right now, okay? So you could practice the 4 squared breathing. Remember how we did 4 in, hold, 4 out, hold? You could practice that just in your head without doing the 4 square. Or you could do a different type of breathing. You can just do 3 in, 3 out, or any type of breathing, as long as you're focusing on your breathing, okay? So we're sitting up straight so far. Our eyes are closed or barely closed, and we're focusing on our breathing. So right now, just as we're getting ready, just take a deep breath in and then a deep breath out. All right, when we focus on one breath, we probably can just stay focused on that one breath. But what's gonna happen is as we're in the meditation and we're gonna be continuously focusing on our breath, we're gonna start to have thoughts pop up into our head, or even feelings, okay? So if a thought pops into your head, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong, okay? You're noticing it, okay? So as soon as you realize that a thought has popped into your head, you just kind of catch it and you go, oh, I noticed a thought. And then you focus back on your breathing, okay? So the idea is to come back to the breathing. It's not to, get mad at ourselves or get upset because we can't think of nothing, because that's not really the idea, okay? So we're just gonna try to focus back on our breath. Now here's something where I said even a feeling or something that's distracting us, and this happens to me all the time. It's like I only feel like I have an itch when I'm meditating, okay? So you might be sitting here all calm and quiet, you're trying to focus on your breath, you notice a feeling come in, you go, oh, there it is. Focus back on my breath, okay? And then all of a sudden, I have an itch really bad, like on my cheek, and it's really, really bad, and I'm like, oh, I gotta itch it, okay? Part of the practice is trying not to itch even, okay? So it's part of just being calm. Now, like we said, some people will keep their hands open like this. So open like this, a posture like this is more of like, I want to receive energy, okay? Whereas maybe you have a lot of energy and you want to calm down more, you put your hands down like this on your on your legs, just down. So that's the idea. Your hands focusing up is like, I want to receive energy from this, and focusing down is like, I want to calm down a little, okay? So I have my hands down on my legs and I feel an itch. So what I'm gonna try to do is recognize the itch, and I'm just gonna name it itch. And I'm gonna name it 3 times. Itch, itch. And then after 3 times of naming it, I'm gonna try to push it away, okay? If I can't, then just itch, okay? It'll be okay, all right? So we're just gonna try to continue to focus on our breathing, all right? So here we go. I'm gonna start it, just gonna do it for a couple minutes and see what it feels like, okay? And so during this practice, if you feel like, if you go, oh, I did it wrong, or I did this or that, you can't do it wrong, first of all, but don't get mad at yourself. Just get refocused and just follow back along, okay? We're just practicing.
Now let's begin by finding a posture that feels relaxed and yet alert and dignified. While this practice can be done with either the eyes open or closed, most beginners find it easier to start with the eyes closed. So allow your eyes to shut gently. Should you find yourself dozing off or becoming dreamy, you may find it helpful to simply open your eyes to allow a little bit of light in if your eyes have been closed. Or if you're quite sleepy, you can continue the practice standing up to encourage a little bit more wakefulness. If you're sitting in a chair, you might imagine a string tied to the top of your head, gently elongating the spine. Just pulling up toward the sky or toward the ceiling. That might mean not leaning up against the back of the chair. Just whatever posture works for you to feel like your spine is more or less erect and you're alert. If you're using meditation cushions, the same instructions apply, except you may want to make sure that the cushions are high enough so that your legs don't fall asleep too readily. And you'll notice that if all is going well, you're already breathing. The breath is happening by itself. And just begin by turning your attention to the sensations of the breath. There are different places where the breath is traditionally observed. You might notice the rising and falling sensations in the belly with each breath. Or perhaps more subtly, the sensations at the tip of the nose, where the air enters a little bit cool and leaves a little bit warm. And just see where the breath is most vivid for you, and bring your attention to that area of the body. And see if you can begin to follow the breath through its full cycles, from the beginning of an inhalation, out to the end of an exhalation, and on to the next cycle. Now, it would not be unusual for thoughts to enter the mind. That's okay, they're our friends. Simply allow the thoughts to arise and pass. But should your attention get hijacked by a chain of narrative thought, such that you've lost contact with the breath entirely, in the moment that you notice that, congratulate yourself. That's a moment of mindfulness. And just gently and lovingly bring your attention back to the sensations of the breath. we're not trying to control the breath in any way. So should you notice that the breath is short and shallow, that's fine. If it's long and deep, that's fine. We're simply using it as an object of awareness, working to cultivate awareness of present experience with acceptance, and just accepting the breath however it presents itself.
Okay, that was just a tiny little snippet of a meditation practice. And meditation is something that we can work up to. If you can just do it for 30 seconds, that's great. Work your way up to a little more. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling really, really calm right now, okay? And again, that's the point. The point is to bring it back down, to calm ourselves. So we want to bring our rational thinking brain connected with our brain, right? We want to be able to be in a calm state. When we are in a calm state, we can think, we can problem solve, and we make better choices. And when we make better choices, we feel better. We feel better about ourselves, and we feel better about the situation, right? And we have to remember, we can't control other people. We can only control ourselves. And sometimes that's one of the hardest things to do, right? So this is just a practice. Keep trying. You can look up on the internet and find tons of guided meditations. There's different meditations that will lead you through feeling relaxed from your toes to your head, or your head to your toes, okay? There's other types of meditations that will just guide you and lead you, okay? You can simply listen to some calming music and just focus on your breath, okay? There are no rules. You can do whatever you want, okay? The idea is that you do practice when you feel good, so that is something that you go to when you need it, all right? So next week, you're actually going to practice another type of meditation in your advisory lesson. And remember, if you do something again that you've already done, we're trying to become a professional here, right? Not an amateur, all right? And this is all about practice. Mindfulness is all about practicing, okay? And getting better, getting in tune with our feelings, keeping ourselves calm in a rational state so we can think and do the right thing. So have some compassion for yourself, okay? Know that you are worth the effort, okay? You're an important person. Talk to yourself like you would a best friend, right? I bet you wouldn't say the things to your best friend that you tell yourself, right? Sometimes we tell ourselves bad things about ourselves, and it's not true, right? So we want to make sure that we are building ourselves up, right? So the next time you say something mean to yourself, turn it around and catch it and say, wow, I must be mindful because I noticed it, right? That's not true, right? And tell yourself some really great things, okay? So as always, I just want to remind you, please reach out to me if you would like to talk to me, if you need ideas, if you need help with anything, okay? You can fill out the counselor Google form, and you can email me, whatever works for you. Just know that I'm here for you. I'm here to help. And I hope that you have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye, Wildcats.